The Galactic Council hall floated in silence above a blue and golden nebula, its transparent dome glowing with the light of 1,000 suns. It was the heart of the universe's politics, where hundreds of alien species gathered to decide the fate of billions. But that day something was different. The air felt heavy, tense like a storm about to begin. Every eye turned toward the center platform as a single human walked forward. Admiral Rhea Morgan, the representative of Earth, a name now whispered across galaxies with both respect and fear. Her uniform was dark silver, her steps calm, her expression unreadable. Behind her, the blue flag of Earth shimmered faintly, showing the outline of a homeworld far away. She stood before the alien counselors, tall insectoid rulers, glowing energy beings, scaled reptilians, and soft-spoken telepaths, all staring with unease. The room buzzed with whispers until Rhea raised her hand. The hall fell silent instantly. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," she began. Her voice was steady, clear, and human. "For decades, humanity has served this council. We shared our technology, our trade, and our peace. But today, that ends." A murmur spread like a wave across the chamber. One alien delegate leaned forward, his blue eyes narrowing. "Admiral Morgan, surely this is a misunderstanding." Rhea looked up, her gaze cutting through the light. "It is not. From this moment forward, Earth and her colonies withdraw from the Galactic Council, effective immediately." The silence that followed was deafening. Then chaos. Several delegates stood shouting in their native tongues. Others slammed their communication tablets, demanding answers. The chamber's light flickered as the energy field rippled from their combined outrage. Rhea did not move. She had expected this reaction. "You cannot do this," hissed a scaled alien from the Zathor Empire. "You are bound by treaties signed a century ago." Rhea turned her eyes toward him. "We were bound by trust," she said quietly. "And you broke it long ago." Holoscreens came alive behind her, showing images of human colonies burned during border disputes, crimes the Council ignored. Trade sanctions used to keep Earth in line, decisions made without humanity's vote. Every image was a wound laid bare. "For years humanity asked for equality," Rhea continued. "You gave us chains instead." The room froze. Even the energy beings, usually emotionless, dimmed their glow. One of the senior counselors, a creature made of translucent light, leaned forward. "You would walk away from unity? From peace?" "Peace?" Rhea echoed, her tone sharp. "You call it peace when humans fight your wars, build your ships, power your cities, while you call us primitive behind closed doors?" Her words echoed like thunder in the dome. For a long moment, no one spoke. Finally, Rhea lifted a small data crystal. "This contains Earth's formal declaration, signed by every nation, every colony, every ship under human command. We are leaving the Council, permanently." As the crystal floated into the Council's central archive, the system registered it, a red line flashing across the galaxy map. "Member, Earth and withdrawn." The shock rippled outward. Entire sectors began to react in disbelief. Reporters transmitted the event live across the stars. Billions of viewers watched in silence. Humanity, the unpredictable, emotional species, had just done the unthinkable. Outside the council hall, hundreds of alien ambassadors surrounded human envoys. Some begged, some threatened. One shouted, "You will regret this." "The council is the law." Rhea looked back once, her eyes calm. "Then let the galaxy see what happens when the law loses its humanity." She turned and walked away. Behind her, the human delegation followed, their boots echoing across the marble bridge that led to their ship. The council guards did not stop them. They only watched, unsure whether to salute or draw their weapons. Moments later, the human flagship Resolute Dawn disengaged from the council's docking ring. Its massive hull gleamed silver blue under the nebula's light. As it drifted free, every camera in the system focused on it. Then the engines ignited. Blue light flared, stretching into brilliant trails as the ship accelerated toward the edge of the system. One by one, the rest of Earth's ships followed. Cargo vessels, cruisers, science fleets, and warships. Together, they formed a silent convoy heading home. On Earth, the broadcast reached every city, every colony, every soldier in orbit. People stood still in factories and schools on streets, watching history unfold. Some cheered, others wept. But one thing was clear: humanity had chosen its own path. In the council hall, the alien leaders sat frozen. For centuries, no species had ever left the council willingly. Most were expelled or destroyed before they tried. But the humans had simply walked away. Within hours, diplomatic channels filled with panic. Economies trembled. Dozens of planets relied on human-made technologies, navigation, defense, medicine. Without Earth's cooperation, entire systems could collapse. Yet Earth remained silent. Rhea Morgan stood aboard her flagship's bridge, watching the stars stretch before her. "Send a message to all colonies," she ordered. Her second officer, a young pilot, nodded. "Message ready, Admiral." Rhea's voice echoed through every human ship, every base, every settlement across the stars. "We are no longer subjects of the Council. From this moment we are the Terran Union, free, united, and answerable to no one." Applause erupted across comms. Pilots raised fists, engineers shouted. Civilians cried with pride. For the first time in centuries, humanity truly belonged to itself. And far away, in the silent chambers of the Galactic Council, alien leaders stared at their dark screens, the connection to Earth now terminated. The oldest among them whispered, almost in fear, "If they leave us, the galaxy will change." Outside, beyond the nebula, human ships disappeared into hyperspace. The stars shimmered as if holding their breath. And so began the day the galaxy realized humanity was no longer part of their story. The news of Earth's withdrawal spread across the galaxy faster than light. Within hours, the great channels of interstellar communication overflowed with chaos, reports, rumors, debates, and fear. In the grand halls of the Galactic Council, the shock had not yet settled. The delegates who once shouted in anger now whispered in disbelief. The humans were gone, and the balance of power had gone with them. For generations, the Galactic Council had relied on humanity's inventions, faster drives, stable wormhole relays, medical nanotech, and the powerful quantum grids that linked entire civilizations. No one had imagined a day when those systems might vanish. But as the humans left, they began shutting them down, one by one. By the second day, 10 council sectors went dark. By the third, trade between entire empires came to a halt. Ships drifted helplessly, cut off from the human-built navigation beacons. Planets once glowing with light now floated dim in the void. The panic began quietly, then it grew. On the crystalline world of Itharian, alien merchants rioted outside the Terran embassy. "Turn it back on," they screamed. "We will pay. Anything." But there was no answer. The embassy doors were locked, the windows black. Humanity had vanished from the stars like a ghost, leaving no trace. Meanwhile, on Mars, humanity was anything but quiet. The red planet had turned into a storm of energy and construction. Towers rose overnight, shipyards expanded beyond orbit. The Terran Union's new flag, a golden sun over a field of black, flew from every base. Admiral Rhea Morgan stood at the heart of the command center. Around her, holographic displays showed the galaxy fractured into light and darkness, council sectors blinking out as their systems failed. Her officers waited for her order. "Status of the withdrawal protocol?" she asked. "All systems disconnected," replied Commander Alvarez. "Quantum relays deactivated. No one can trace our networks," Rhea nodded. "And the colonies?" "Luna, Europa, Titan, and Proxima all confirmed allegiance to the Union," Alvarez said proudly. "Even the distant mining colonies on the rim are joining. Humanity stands together, ma'am." For the first time in history, every human world, from the deserts of Mars to the floating cities of Neptune, was united under one banner. Old rivalries and borders meant nothing now. They had something greater to protect, their freedom. But peace did not follow. The Galactic Council, desperate to reassert control, sent fleets toward Earth's borders. Officially, they were observation patrols. Unofficially, they were threats. The first of these fleets vanished near Jupiter without a trace. Council Command refused to admit it. They sent another, larger, stronger, and that fleet too disappeared. Only fragments of transmissions remained, filled with static and a single haunting sound. A human voice whispering, "Go home." In the weeks that followed, rumors began to spread. Aliens claimed to see massive ships moving in the shadows near the outer systems. Human ships larger than anything ever built before. One survivor of a failed patrol described it in trembling words. It was like a moving continent. A wall of light and metal. No sound, no signal. Just a ship watching us. And then, nothing. Back at the council capital, chaos ruled. Economies crumbled, planets starved, and political alliances cracked. For the first time, alien leaders faced what humanity had felt for centuries: isolation. Councillor Sarath of the Varn Dominion slammed his hand on the table. "They are a threat to the galaxy. We must act before it is too late." But another voice, older and wiser, spoke softly. "And what if it already is too late?" The council had grown fat on the comfort humanity provided. Now stripped of human support, they struggled to even maintain their own technology. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Rhea addressed the leaders of the newly formed Terran Union. "They will come for us," she said. "But when they do, they will find that humanity no longer kneels." In the orbital yards above Earth, new warships were taking shape. Designs unlike anything before. Sleek, angular, built for both beauty and power. Their hulls shimmered with reactive armor that pulsed like living metal. On each ship's prow, one phrase was engraved in deep silver letters: "For Terra and the Union." Workers labored day and night. The old alliances between military and science had turned into something far greater: unity. Humanity had found strength not in conquest but in survival. They were building not for war, but to ensure that no one would ever decide their fate again. Then, on the 30th day after leaving the council, a new signal appeared. It was faint, pulsing from the edge of the solar system, a single alien vessel broadcasting a plea for peace. Rhea watched the transmission in silence. The alien ambassador's face flickered on screen, his voice trembling. "Please, the galaxy is collapsing. Trade, medicine, communication, all gone. The council begs for dialogue. We will restore your seat, your rights, your respect." Rhea stood motionless. Around her, the bridge crew waited, their eyes fixed on her. Finally, she spoke. "Tell them this: humanity does not return to masters who remember us only when they suffer." The transmission was cut. That same night, far beyond Pluto's orbit, the Terran shipyards came alive. Massive engines ignited as the first of the Aegis-class dreadnoughts awakened. It was the largest vessel ever constructed by human hands, a fortress, a symbol, a message to the stars. When it moved, its engines burned with the color of sunrise, casting light across the dark void. It was named Sol's Wrath. From the observation deck, Admiral Rhea watched as the ship glided past. Its size blocked the stars themselves. She did not smile. She only whispered to herself, "We warned them, and now they will learn the price of defiance." On the same night, across the galaxy, alien worlds went silent. Power grids failed again. Starports shut down. The council tried to send messages, but no one answered. In the deep quiet between worlds, a single human beacon blinked once, its signal strong and cold. "We asked for peace. You chose control. Now we choose silence." The galaxy trembled. For the first time in thousands of years, the council realized that the humans, the species they had mocked and underestimated, were not just gone. They were watching, and somewhere in the darkness beyond known space, the engines of the Aegis-class dreadnoughts burned brighter, ready for whatever would come next. Darkness spread faster than war. Within months of Earth's departure, half the Galactic Council's systems were failing. On hundreds of worlds, power grids collapsed, trade halted, and entire cities flickered out under the weight of silence. The once mighty council that ruled the stars now felt small, weak, and blind. Every empire blamed another. The Zathar accused the Lumerians of sabotaging the networks. The Lumerians accused the humans of blackmail. But the truth was simpler. They had built their civilization on humanity's work, and now that foundation was gone. On the planet Arian Prime, the Council's central hub, the streets were filled with protests. Holographic screens showed headlines: Terran technology offline, millions stranded, human exodus cripples core worlds. Panic grew day by day. Food convoys that once relied on human star maps drifted into nothingness. Starports became graveyards of ships unable to jump. Deep inside the council chambers, the remaining leaders met again. Their faces were grim, their voices low. The same question hung in the air: what if humanity never returns? Councillor Sarath rose, his scales glinting under the cold light. "We underestimated them," he said. "We thought humans needed us, But it is we who depended on them. The room fell silent. Even the prideful Lumerians did not argue. They control the flow of technology, said another voice. The quantum grids, the trade algorithms, the AI protocols, and all human-made. And if they decide to never share again? A nervous delegate asked. Then we fall, someone whispered. Across the stars, small rebellions began. Frontier colonies once protected by human fleets found themselves defenseless. Pirates appeared like locusts, raiding trade routes, stealing what little fuel remained. Every time a distress call was sent, there was no answer. The Council Navy, once confident and vast, was powerless without the human-built relay network that guided their ships. Meanwhile, in the outer reaches of space, humanity was changing. The Terran Union had entered what historians would later call the Age of Silence. They no longer spoke to alien worlds. They no longer traded or shared. Instead, they built. Shipyards in orbit around Mars, Titan, and Europa glowed day and night, assembling massive vessels unlike anything seen before. These ships were not just machines. They were symbols. Humanity's message to the stars was clear. We will never kneel again. Inside the central command dome of the Soul's Wrath, Admiral Rhea Morgan watched the fleet take shape. Through the viewport, thousands of smaller vessels drifted in perfect formation, their hulls reflecting the sun's golden fire. Her second-in-command approached quietly. Admiral, latest report from the frontier colonies, he said. Pirate activity increasing. Council fleets collapsing. It's chaos out there. Rhea nodded slowly. Then they are learning what it means to stand alone. He hesitated. Some of the smaller worlds, they're asking for help. Civilian messages, not council orders. Rhea turned away from the stars and faced him. And what does our policy say? The officer swallowed. We stay silent. Then we stay silent, Rhea said softly. They turned away from us when it was easy. Now they remember us when it's hard. That is not friendship, and that is fear. She looked back out the window, her eyes distant. And fear is a lesson they must learn. As weeks turned into months, fear spread like a living thing. In the Galactic Core, ancient empires began stockpiling weapons. Others tried to copy human technology, and failed. Their machines overheated, their AIs rebelled, their fleets broke down mid-flight. Still whispers grew. Rumors that humanity had created something terrible, a weapon powerful enough to collapse stars or silence entire systems. No one knew if it was true, but every time a ship vanished near the Sol boundary, the rumors grew stronger. Then, one night, an alien freighter crossing the outer rim picked up a signal. Faint, rhythmic, human. The crew decoded it. It was a transmission on an old Terran frequency, repeating a single phrase. Do not come closer. The Union watches. The freighter turned back immediately, its crew swearing never to speak of what they heard. But by then, the rumor had already reached the council. In panic, they called another emergency session. We must open communication, one leader shouted, before it's too late. But it was already too late. The next week, something appeared on their sensors. A single ship emerging from hyperspace near the council capital. Its signature was human. Panic erupted. Fleets scrambled, defense grids activated, weapons charged. The alien commanders shouted orders, terrified of what might come, but the human ship did not attack. It simply hovered in the void, silent. Its hull bore the golden symbol of the Terran Union, a sun encircled by black. Then a transmission reached every world, every ship, every screen in the galaxy. We are not your servants. We are not your soldiers. We gave you peace and you turned it into chains. Now you will learn to live without us. The transmission ended. The ship vanished. The galaxy fell into a silence deeper than space itself. In the following months, strange things began to happen. Entire star systems disappeared from council records, erased from every map, every archive, as if they never existed. Some said it was human cyber warfare. Others claimed it was punishment. No one knew the truth. The fear turned into reverence. Statues of humans began appearing on alien worlds, memorials of a species both feared and missed. Songs were written, prayers whispered, and far away in a secret chamber under the Martian surface, Admiral Rhea Morgan stood before a massive holographic display of the galaxy. Half of it blinked red, her officers waited. She said nothing for a long time. Then she spoke quietly, her voice heavy but sure. They built their empire on our backs. Let them see what happens when the weight is gone. She turned to her aide. Prepare the final phase. The aide frowned. Operation Eclipse? Rhea nodded. Yes, the Council wanted a galaxy without humanity. Now we will give it to them. Outside, in the silent black of space, the human fleet prepared to move, engines igniting like a rising dawn. The galaxy had learned to fear humanity's power, but soon it would learn to fear its absence even more. A year had passed since Earth's voice vanished from the Council frequencies. No trade, no messages, no warnings. The galaxy had grown quiet, and too quiet. What was once a web of endless light had turned into broken lines of darkened systems. Trade hubs stood empty, stations drifted without power, and fleets that once boasted unity now fought over scraps of dying worlds. In the silence, fear had become the new law. At the heart of the Galactic Council capital, the remaining leaders gathered for what they called the final summit. The chamber that once glowed with color and life was dim, its glass walls streaked with cracks from neglect. The proud banners of 100 species hung limp in the artificial breeze. Councillor Sarath spoke first, his voice trembling. It has been one standard year since humanity left the Council. Our colonies are dying. Our technologies fail by the day. We must act, another delegate hissed. Act against what? Against ghosts? The room fell to whispers again. No one wanted to say it, but all of them felt the same thing. The humans were gone, yet their shadow stretched farther than ever. From the corner of the room, an old Varn scientist rose slowly. I ran simulations, he said. If the current collapse continues, 70% of our networks will fail within the next cycle. Star travel will become impossible. A heavy silence followed. Someone finally said, Send a fleet. Force them to return. Sarath hesitated. And if they destroy us? Then we die in silence anyway, another snapped. Better to burn than fade. Within a week, the largest Council armada ever assembled took flight. More than 3,000 ships drawn from every surviving empire. Their mission, approach the Sol system and demand humanity's return. The flagship Divinity's hand led the way, its massive hull gleaming under the dying light of distant suns. Inside, the admiral in charge, an ancient being named Teresh Vorn, sat alone in his command chair. His eyes scanned the void ahead. They will listen, he said to his crew. They must listen, but even he did not believe his own words. At the edge of the Sol system, the fleet came to a stop. Before them stretched a vast emptiness, quiet, dark, endless. Sensors detected no human transmissions, no patrols, no warnings. Are they gone? One officer whispered. Then the stars flickered. One by one, massive silhouettes appeared from the darkness. At first they looked like asteroids, motionless, silent. Then as light touched their hulls, the truth emerged. Ships, human ships, but not like before. These were colossal. Each one the size of a small moon, their hulls covered in glowing blue veins that pulsed like living metal. The Aegis fleet had awakened. The Council fleet froze. No one dared speak. Then a single transmission filled the comm, cold, clear, human. You have entered restricted space. State your purpose. Admiral Vorn's voice shook as he answered. We come to speak, to restore peace. To rebuild what was lost. There was silence. Then the human voice replied, a calm, emotionless. You built nothing, you took. And when we stopped giving, you called it loss. You came to restore your comfort, not peace. Vorn tried again. We are dying out here. Without you, the galaxy will fall. Then let it fall. The transmission ended. In that instant, every sensor on the Council ships began to fail. Their lights flickered, their engines dimmed. The stars outside seemed to fade, swallowed by something vast and invisible. Then one by one, the human ships activated. Rings of light formed around them, silent, pulsing, growing brighter until they covered the entire sky. The alien crews watched in awe and terror. What are they doing? Someone shouted. Recording, another whispered. They are showing us what we made them become. And then, just as suddenly as it began, everything went dark. For 6 minutes, every ship, every satellite, every world across the galaxy lost contact. No light, no sound, no data, pure absolute silence. When power returned, the humans were gone. But something else was gone too. Entire sectors, millions of stars, had vanished from every record. Whole civilizations erased as if they never existed. The council map showed only black where once there were lights. Admiral Vorn collapsed to his knees. "What have they done?" His communication officer whispered, terrified. "Not destruction, sir, deletion. They erased us from their world." Far away, beyond the galactic rim, the Terran Union fleet drifted silently through the dark. Inside the flagship Saul's Wrath, Admiral Rhea Morgan stood before a wide viewport. Beyond it, the stars shimmered faintly, peaceful and far away. Her second-in-command approached carefully. "It's done," he said. "The Council fleet has withdrawn. Their systems are failing. They won't be able to find us again." Rhea nodded slowly. "Good. Then the galaxy will learn what silence truly means." The officer hesitated. "Do you think they will ever understand?" Rhea looked at him, her eyes calm, distant, sad. "No, they never understood us when we spoke. They will understand only when we are gone." She turned to the stars. "For centuries they called us violent. They said humanity's greatest weapon was war. They were wrong." She paused. "Our greatest weapon was walking away." In the following months, what was left of the Galactic Council dissolved completely. Planets went dark, empires fell, and memory itself began to fade. Without human systems maintaining their records, civilizations forgot their own histories. Somewhere in the quiet corners of space, alien survivors told stories to their children. Stories of a race that rose from one small world, helped the galaxy, and then vanished into the dark when betrayed. They called them the Forgotten Builders. And deep within the Terran Union archives, far beyond the reach of alien eyes, one line was written into history. The day humanity left the Council was not the end of peace. It was the beginning of silence. As the last human ship passed beyond the reach of any known star, its engines burned softly like a dying sun. The galaxy held its breath, and the stars, once full of noise, war, and arrogance, fell silent.